Hi, and my name is Kieran. I'm from Woodruff School, which is in Lyme Regis, and in February 2013, 16 students from years 9 to 12 came together to learn recording, research and interviewing skills so that we could record stories with older people from the town about their memories of growing up and working in Lyme Regis.
Henry, Eddie, Reuben and myself, Harry, from Year 11, interviewed Ken Gollop. We were keen to talk to Ken about his family's fishing heritage, how the war affected the fishing industry, and his memories about growing up in Lyme Regis. Fishing has played a huge role in Ken's life, and we wanted to find out about his earliest fishing memories.
Right, there's Lyme Regis when I was a boy.
Oh, wow. It's interesting that the cob seems fairly unchanged.
But I mean, we used to play on all these fields, you see.
Yeah, Dan and Vern used to always play there as well.
Yeah.
Out in Indian country, they called it. Yeah. And that's the gasworks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have any strong memories of fishing as a child, say a big catch that or something you were proud of like that?
I remember the day my father brought in a £120 ray or skate. That was quite a scene there. What we used to do when war finished, my earliest memories really of fishing, was we used to row out to, I expect some of you might have heard of the wreck of the Bay Katana, which is a mile offshore here. And we used to go out there and we used to catch pout whiting. And I know there was me, my brother, my father and my uncle in a 12-foot rowing boat. That's an ordinary sized rowing boat, so it was pretty crowded, being big blokes. And we brought in 4 big bushel baskets of pout whiting. And we sowed them all before 8:30 in the evening. And my job was to run around Colway Mead with bowls of these fish, sort of 4 for a shilling. And we made quite a killing that day. I think I got about 10 shillings that night, which was quite good for a 10-year-old kid, you know. My grandfather lived with us for his last 9 years of his life. And that, so he could always tell us the stories of when they used to go herring drifting. The fantastic catches, 4,000 or 5,000 fish in one haul. And they used to land them on Cobgate Beach. I always remember one story he told us of how it was a very, very bad winter during November, December, and they could hardly get to sea at all. And on the 23rd of December, the weather went straight away flat calm. They all went to sea. They all brought in mammoth catches. Christmas, hardly anybody wanted fish. And they had to chuck the whole lot over Cobgate Jetty.
So explain where we are now, Ken.
We're on the edge of Monmouth Beach overlooking the harbour near the start of the high wall. And you got the whole vista of the harbour in front of you with the cliffs behind, right out through to Portland. And that warehouses on the end of the harbour wall, they're all used for different purposes now, the aquarium and fishermen's stores and things like that. And you got the high wall pointing out to sea here on the right hand side.
So can you describe whether any of the boats you see here today are anything like the boats that you used when you were a fisherman?
Yeah, there's only a couple left in actual fact, and they're both out to sea at the moment. They were open boats with 2 masts, a big rowing boat with 2 masts and an engine, 22 foot long. That was the general boat we used to use for tripping and for crabbing in the summer. The trawlers were a little bit bigger. They were 24 foot long. They used to look after their nets. The seine net, which I don't know whether you know, is a net which you have in a boat. You row it round in a semicircle, bring it back to shore, then pull both ends in, That was the family treasure sort of thing, And of course, during the war, we couldn't go out. It was kept in a darn great chest in our kitchen. And every few months, we would give it an airing because it was made of cotton, so you couldn't allow it to rot. And we would help Father transfer this net from the box across the kitchen, out through the window, across the garden onto the line. And you'd hang it in big loops on the line. And then tea time, you'd all be there and you'd haul it back again into the chest. And after the war, we used it twice, and the darn thing then fell apart. After all that work during the winter looking after it.
Why is the cob special to you?
Well, my family go back several generations fishing, and that we started off in Charmouth, but the cob has always featured in our fishing lives, and that even though we used to work the rowing boats from Cobb Gate Beach, we'd always bring the boats back to the harbour, the motorboats back in the evening and that, and stormy weather you always had to come down and look after the boats on the beach and in the harbour and that. I've been on this harbour wall every hour you can think of, night and day. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning we've come in from sea and that, and surprisingly enough, whenever you come in there's always somebody about. You will always find somebody lurking about somewhere. It's a funny thing. But for most Lyme people who were brought up in Lyme, the cob is special. You spend so much time here. You do a bit of courting out here, things like that, and you literally grew up really running around here. So it's always been there. And of course it's the most prominent feature in Lyme Regis.